Okay, let's go ahead and do this Geneva Chem. So I've opened up our template file and I'm starting on page 15. And you can see the part that we are going to create and the drawing that we are going to create. Let's start with putting in some construction lines. So go ahead and make your construction your current layer. And we're going to put the first point at the world coordinate system point 5, 4.5. That is a point on the grid. We hit enter. And we want to pick a point above that, so we make a vertical line. Oops. Okay, my mouse slipped, so I'm going to erase this one. And I'm going to now put in a construction line with its first point at that same point. Five, 4.5. Hit enter. Okay. Construction line. First point. 5, 4.5. Hit enter. And a point horizontal to that. Click and end. Okay, not end. I'm going to create another construction line with my first point at that intersection. But this time I want to rotate it 30 degrees. So I'm going to use polar coordinates. I'm going to enter a length. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to enter 2. And then I'm going to enter an angle. So to enter an angle, I use the less than key on my keyboard and then type in 30 and hit enter. And now we will right click to end the command. Okay, we're going to put in a circle. And we're going to put in a circle that is centered here at this intersection and has a diameter of 0.75. And now we're going to put in another circle. So I'm building all of these circles that are pictured at the bottom of page 16. The next one has got a diameter of 1.25. And 2. Whoops. Oh, radius. I'm specifying radii, not diameter, sorry. So these are all radius measurements. So now I've got a circle centered at the intersection with radius 4. And one more with radius 4.5. And I'm going to adjust my view a little bit. Remember that I'm using a different input device. You can do this with your mouse. You don't have to use the wheel. I've got a pen and tablet for mine. So instead of a mouse, I click with this little guy on a graphics pad. Works pretty slick. Okay, so there are all of our circles. Let's change our layer now to object lines. What we've done so far is just given ourselves some construction lines to help guide us. So now we're going to start actually building something. And we're going to put in a circle. And what we're going to do is put in circles that intersect our construction lines, that are centered at the intersections of our construction lines and our circles, construction circles. It may be helpful to turn off grid snap here, and that's what I'm going to do. So I should have my first circle goes at the intersection of my angled line and my 30-degree circle. So I click to there, and I'm going to make its radius 0.25. And I'm going to put in the big circle that you almost can't see, that's centered at the center here, and has got radius 4. And I'm going to put in this 1.5 radius circle. So those are the 3 circles that are pictured at the bottom of page 17. And again, remember what we're doing. We're building that cam. So we're just using these circles, and we're going to trim some of them out to make those arcs. So we're going to now use the offset command, and that's this guy right here. And we're going to offset by a 1/4 inch, so 0.25. And then it says, and then we want to select what we're going to offset. And what we're going to offset is this angled line. So we're going to click on it once, and then all we need to do is click to which side we want it to offset, and we'll click over here. And now we're going to draw a line that starts at the intersection of our circle and that line we just drew, and ends at the intersection of our outer circle and that offset line. And right-click to end. Okay, so now we're going to trim off some excess. And remember, when we use trim, the first thing we select is the cutting edges. And so if we look at what's left there, we're going to use this guy. So we're going to trim out all of our excess and make that picture at the bottom of page 19. And it looks like just about everything is a cutting edge. After we've selected our cutting edges, right click, and I know I want to make all of this go away. Oh, and I'm going to have to select some more cutting edges. And actually, this all goes away. So let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of all of this. And I'm going to right click and enter this. And I need to do some. So let's trim again. And if we look, I've also got some construction lines that are cutting edges. So now let's trim this and that, and we're getting close. Let's do this one more time. Sometimes you have to trim a few times. I think this will do it. Oops. There we go, that guy. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we've got an image that looks like what's shown on page 19. And this is a portion of our cam, and we're going to make the cam complete here in a minute. We're going to do that by mirroring. So click up here with mirror. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just draw a rectangle around our object. So click here on one corner above it, and then drag to another corner diagonal down so that you've got your object, your lines that you want to mirror, whatever you want to mirror, completely enclosed, and then click again. And that selects all of those. And now, right-click to indicate that you've selected all the objects you want to click. And now AutoCAD says specify the first point on the mirror line. My first point, we're going to mirror across this line right here. So I'm going to put my first point somewhere on that construction line. And my second point also somewhere on that construction line. Whoops. And we do not want to erase the source objects, so hit enter. And there we've created essentially the first tooth. And we will right click. Okay, and we are done. Okay, so now, this is great, fine and dandy, but our next thing is not easily mirrored. So we're going to use the array command. And the array command lets us copy an object along a pattern. It can be a rectangular array, or it can be a circular array, or polar array. Polar means circular. So we are going to use the polar array. So up on our modify toolbar, you see array. If you down click here, you can see we can do a couple of different things. We can do a rectangular array. We can actually array along a path, which is what that second option is. We can do a polar array. We're going to do polar. Okay, now AutoCAD says, great, fine dandy, tell me what you want to spread around. So I'm going to again use that selection rectangle. Whoops, sorry. Try this again. Array, don't drag, click, and click. If you drag, it does this weird sweepy thing. Okay, now I've selected my objects. I right click, and AutoCAD says specify the first point. We're going to click in the center. And it just pops those puppies all the way in there. There are options up here that you can play with. We want to set the fill angle to 360 degrees. That is this 360 right here. We want to make sure we're going around a base point. And when we're satisfied, and this looks pretty good to me, we're going to just close the array. Now what AutoCAD does, it evenly spaced those shapes around a 360 degree because that's what we told it to do. There are other options. I encourage you to play with this so you understand what each variety does. And we're going to head and close this array. And look at there. Our cam is very nearly complete. We just need to put in a couple more things. We're going to put in this inner circle. That one. And we're going to put in that one. And we're going to put in that little keyway. Using offset, we're going to make copies of this construction line to the left and to the right. And now using lines. How tall is that thing? Oh, let's make another construction line. Let's mirror this guy up. 0.95 inches. And now all we need to do is pop in lines from the intersection point of that circle to there, and to there. And right click and done. And now we'll trim using those two as cut lines and trim out that part of our circle. And there we go. Pretty slick, huh? Okay. Let's save this. And we'll come back on another day and talk about viewports. There we go. This is Chapter 8, CAM. Okay, so what I have done is I've done the front view here. I have not put in any dimensions, nor have I done the side view. So those are the next things we'll do when we come back, and then we will talk about the viewports and actually getting this thing onto a plot. All right, everybody have a great day.